probably not gonna be too long. Try not to be too long with it because this is supposed to be my off night, but let's find something a little bit interesting. Just want to switch it up a little bit. I didn't know. I was supposed to do first and foremost. I was supposed to do a Piers Morgan video, which I will be doing in a few minutes. But your boy Trump, he's feeling the heat right now. He is feeling the heat. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go cut straight to the chase.
Cutting him off from banking services for political reasons.
Oops.
President Trump is suing banking giant JP Morgan Chase and its CEO Jamie Dimon for allegedly cutting him off from banking services for political reasons after he left office in January 2021. The lawsuit was filed in Florida, where President Trump keeps his residence at Mar-a-Lago and most of his businesses now operate. In the lawsuit, President Trump alleges that he received a notice from JP Morgan in the weeks following the U.S. Capitol attacks that his bank accounts were to be closed and he was no longer to have access to JP Morgan's wealth management services, and that he would have 60 days to move his money. President Trump alleges that he tried to reach out to Jamie Dimon, the bank CEO, personally to find out what was going on, and that Jamie Dimon said that he would follow up and never did so. The lawsuit comes at a heightened time between Wall Street and the White House. A couple weeks ago, President Trump announced that he planned on capping credit card interest rates at 10%, a move that would cost Wall Street banks tens of billions of dollars in interest revenue alone. Jamie Dimon and his other banking executives have said that they would fight the credit card. Trump announced that he planned on capping credit, and that Jamie Dimon said that he would follow up and never did so. The lawsuit comes at a heightened time between Wall Street and the White House. A couple weeks ago, President Trump announced that he planned on capping credit card interest rates at 10%, a move that would cost Wall Street banks tens of billions of dollars in interest revenue alone. Jamie Dimon and his other banking executives have said that they would fight the credit card interest rate cap with every tool at their disposal, and most bank lobbying groups have come out adamantly against any proposal that would cap credit card interest rates. In a statement, JP Morgan said that the lawsuit has no merit and that it closes bank accounts for regulatory and legal reasons, not for political reasons.
Can't see the star of trouble, can you? First it's the tariffs. Then it's the Epstein files. Then it's the fact that oh, by the way, did you check my little post? That boy can't seem to stay awake for anything important and letting one rip in the process. Whew, my God. But nonetheless, that's who you voted for. So I'm minding my own business, and I read the daily newspaper, and it says here, I wish I had my glasses. Pull this motherfucker to the side. Yeah, it even says here, and this is 2022, February 2022. Okay, so bank closed Trump's accounts. JP Morgan says it made the decision in the January 6th aftermath. By Ken Sweet of the Associate Press. So you can go and look this up if you like. New York, JP Morgan Chase acknowledges for the first time that it closed the bank accounts of President Donald Trump and several of his businesses in the political and legal aftermath of the January 6, 2021 attacks on the U.S. Capitol. the latest development in a legal saga between the president and his nation's biggest banks over the issue known as debanking. Acknowledging the acknowledgement came in court filing submitted this week in Trump's lawsuit against the bank. Oh, it's right here. Trump's lawsuit against the bank and its leader, Jamie Dimon, which you guys just seen. The president sued for $5 billion, of course, uh, alleging that. Okay, I gotta say it. Alleging that his accounts were closed for political reasons, disrupting his business operation. What business operation? I didn't know Trump had a business operation, the operation to steal money from people. Oh, let me not say that. February 2021, JP Morgan informed plaintiff that certain accounts maintained with JP Morgan's CB and PB would be closed. JP Morgan's former chief and executive officer Dan Wickley wrote the account filing. The PB and CB stands for JP Morgan's Private Bank and Commercial Bank. Until now, JP Morgan has never said it closed the president's accounts in writing after January 6th. The bank would only speak hypothetically when the banks closes the accounts and its reason for closing the accounts, citing bank privacy laws. Let me see. A spokeswoman for the bank declining to comment beyond what the bank said in its illegal filing. Trump originally sued J.P. Morgan in Florida state court, where Trump primary resistance is now local. The filing, I don't want to tore it up. The filing this week are part of in effect by JP Morgan Chase. Sorry for the delay. JP Morgan Chase to have the case both moved from the state to a federal court. It's always he's moving something to a federal court. Whenever the lower state court don't do nothing for him, he always wants to move things to a federal fucking court. Like the federal courts is going to do something for him. We just do something federal. Why won't you ever own up to his responsibility? Why don't he just be accountable? Crazy. Real crazy. Anyway, Chase Morgan want to move in the federal court and to have the adjudication of the case moved to New York. Oh, Lord. Which is where the bank accounts were located and where Trump kept most of his businesses operating until recently. Trump originally accused the bank of a trade label and violation state of and federal unfair and treated unfair and deceptive trade practices. In the original lawsuit, Trump said he'll try to raise the issue personally with Diamond. Diamond, I guess that's what his name is. After the bank sent him notice that J.P. Morgan would be closing his accounts, and that Diamond assumed Trump would figure out what was happening. The lawsuit alleges Diamond failed to follow up with Trump. Further, Trump's lawyer alleged that JP Morgan placed the president and his companies on a repu- reputri- reputational blacklist. Basically, it's blacklisted, which means he can never operate in that bank again, I assume. If I'm wrong, tell me in the chat. Um, that both JP Morgan and other banks use to keep clients from opening ooh, yes, it does. It keeps clients from opening bank accounts with them in the future. The blacklist has yet to be defined by the president's lawsuit. If and when the plaintiff explains what they mean by the blacklist, JP Morgan will respond accordingly. The bank's lawsuit said in the filing, JP Morgan has said that while it is regret that Trump felt the need to sue the bank, the lawsuit has no merit. So that's why I put up that post in the first place. And apparently,
way. So, and they were actually really kind over the phone.
Okay,
like
I didn't ask for that. I don't know why that came up. Why is that coming up? So that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to report. He's fucking crashing out. Supreme Court. Let's break this down. What we do know, the Supreme Court took most of his tariff money away from him. Now he wants to continue the tariffs under a new law. JB Morgan, the owner of JB Morgan, closed his bank accounts. That's two. He's bitching and moaning about the Nobel Peace Prize and how it wasn't presented to him accordingly. That's three. He's not looking good in the polls, number four. And the Epstein files are getting closer and closer and closer to having. Well, let me reverse that. It's not just about the files. It's about him and the simple fact that the Democrats are flipping these seats around because the Republicans, some of these Republicans are getting a little bit fed up with Trump. And some of these people are retired. Some of them should retire. So he is completely unhinging, in my opinion. But that's not going to necessarily stop a millionaire from doing what he's doing, including throwing people underneath the bus, vis-a-vis Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. So, but I do want to get to my original. thing that I said I was going to do, and that's the whole Piers Morgan thing. Here we go.
Do you know what? I said the other day I would literally now be prepared to believe any conspiracy theory relating to the Epstein scandal, because so much of it is actually coming true. Who the hell?
I didn't know that Biden. I didn't know that Biden and Kamala were in office. Are they in office right now? Are they in office right now? I didn't know that are they in office right now? Biden's back in office? Oh, snap. Show me the proof that he's back in office and we can talk about it.
Right? I mean, I just think the idea.
Although you're quick to defend your pal Donald Trump, who was close to him.
No, I'm only quick to defend him about one part of this, which is there's a lot of stuff in those files that is clearly fantastical, malicious, and was investigated.
But there's a lot of stuff redacted, Piers.
No, I agree. But there's no.
How do we know?
There's been no evidence.
The full extent of this?
Well, it's a perfectly valid point.
Agreed. But there hasn't been a full investigation. I agree with that, Piers.
And I'm with you.
Cash Patel and Pat Bondi shutting it down. Why is the director of the FBI and the Attorney General shutting it down?
If you're preaching to the choir, you're saying the same thing.
I love it when we agree. I love it when we agree, Piers.
I always feel a bit disconcerted when we agree. Let's talk about something else. It's interesting because let's assume a scenario here which plays out. I said on my show on Monday, we were talking about the polling for Trump and the midterms coming up pretty soon now. All right, we're nearly in March. You've got midterms in November. It is highly likely, the way things are looking, that the Republicans will get a big beating in the midterms unless something extraordinary happens, which it might. But if they do and they lose control of the House, then any president in that position pretty much becomes a lame duck president. And if that happens, it's a free-for-all for what happens next, both amongst his own party and, of course, the Democrats. The Democrats don't really have yet, to me, anyone clearly coming through in the way that Bill Clinton did or Barack Obama did, which is a massive problem for the party. One of their leading lights is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I watched this clip of her. She went down to the Munich conference, I think to sort of show her global aspirations and how smart she was and so on, and ended up getting pretty well ridiculed for a few things, but one of which was her explanation when she was asked by a friend of mine actually, would and should the US commit troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move? And she said this.
Would and should the US actually commit US troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move? I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Now, if Donald Trump had come out with that, you'd have gone, what the fuck is he talking about? That is nonsense. So in the cause of intellectual honesty, Mediasan, would you say that what we just heard was a load of gibberish, word salad nonsense?
No, I think what we heard was not her finest hour in terms of articulating an answer on a very complicated subject. I was awkward watching that. It's obviously not great to and ah for 20 seconds. I wrote a book about public speaking. You know that I've addressed these issues and people who do public speaking. It wasn't a great moment for her, but the idea that that summed up her presence at Munich is actually what I would question the premise of your entire discussion. You just played a clip from an account. I noticed where you played it from. It's a well-known right-wing bagger Twitter account. The right are very good, Piers, aided and abetted sometimes by your good self, in pushing narratives about Democratic politicians to brand them.
Why does it matter where it came from?
They did it to...
I'm not a fan of AOC, but I feel like people love to pick and choose what to nitpick about, when just nitpick a lot of things in the past and what about this and what about that, when clearly the present is here and now. I don't care much about what I did in the past. I learned from the things that I did in the past. so I can go to the present and unlearn what I have learned so I can go forward in the future. But half these people don't want to do that. They just want to go, yeah. Well, what about Kamala Harris? And what about that Donald J? Joe Biden? What about Joe Biden? What about that Kamala Harris? What about Kamala Harris? What about Joe Biden? What about Kamala Harris? We learn who not to vote for. I never wanted to vote for that. I never voted for that dirtbag in the first place. And I certain as hell didn't vote for Kamala either. Although I did not give Kamala any chance because it was some very, very short months. And I should have did my research, but then again, I probably wouldn't find nothing to further my education on how she works as far as, politically, how she works politically. And I find little bits and pieces here and there. She led a whole bunch of black people in jail. She put a family in jail for whatever reason. I get all that. But if there's not a balance to this thing, then by God, it's my fault for not doing research. But if I just hear you just putting black folks in jail for no apparent reason and we know the reason why, like, and then you don't come up with your policies don't match your wits. But now all of a sudden I hear like you want the black vote really, really bad. It's my fault for not doing research. That's why I want to do a deep dive on Kamala Harris. I want to do a deep dive on Kamala Harris, and don't nobody come to me with her nationality. She's an Indian. She ain't black. I say it and I say it again. That's not even important. What's important to me is her politics, what she stands for. Hopefully she doesn't hopefully she's not the Obama type, but we'll see. Let me do my deep dive. Let me do my research, and then I will get back to y'all.
It does, because, for example, she gave fantastic answers on inequality, on Gaza, on authoritarianism. She spoke to a packed crowd in Berlin the next day. She met with the SPD. She met with the far left. No one mentions any of that. Instead, everyone in the US media is talking about this because the right wants you to talk about it. That's my first point, that this is a very manufactured narrative. And number two, it's not at all equivalent to Trump. Trump could never say even half of what she said about Taiwan. Her answer, actually, at the end, which is we shouldn't get to that point, is actually the right answer. When Trump, I checked, because I knew you were going to ask me about this. I checked before I came on air. Trump was asked about Taiwan a few months ago, and he couldn't answer the question. He said, it's a secret. I can't tell you what my position is. Well, that's much better. In fact, this week, Piers, forget rhetoric. Do you know what Trump said about Taiwan? He told reporters on Monday that he's checking with the Chinese president before he sells arms to Taiwan.
He'll probably flip them the bird before he tells them anything, because most times he's reading from a script anyway.
Goes against a 42-year long-standing U.S. policy on Taiwan that Ronald Reagan set up. Not me, Ronald Reagan set up. So you can go on about AOC's 20-second umming and ahhing, which wasn't great for AOC, I admit. Or we could talk about the fact that Donald Trump has a very bad policy on Taiwan that goes against U.S. traditional national security policy. And we could talk about the fact that Donald Trump's sentences make AOC look like the most eloquent woman in history. What are you talking about? Have you heard Donald Trump rant about shark attacks, about the size of Arnold Palmer's penis, about toilet flushing? AOC's never said anything like that.
Wait, whoa. Did I hear the P word? Did he say the P word? Hold on. Let me run that back.
AOC looked like the most eloquent woman in history. What are you talking about? Have you heard Donald Trump rant about shark attacks, about the size of Arnold Palmer's penis, about toilet?
Who's P9? Who? Nah, bro. Nah. I heard enough. This y'all voted for him. Y'all did. That's y'all president.
Flushing. AOC's never said anything like that. Donald Trump, hold on, I haven't finished. Donald Trump went to Davos, Piers. Did you play the clip? In the interest of fairness and intellectual honesty, to quote you, did you play the clip of Donald Trump in Davos calling Greenland Iceland again and again and again? He went to Davos and embarrassed himself, calling it Iceland. And by the way, worse than calling it Iceland, he wants to invade Greenland. No Democrat has ever suggested anything as mad as going to war with Denmark as Donald Trump. So please don't come here and talk about gibberish and intellectual honesty. Your pal is the most deranged person to ever get close to any top office anywhere in the West.
That's a lie. That is a lie from hell.
Do you know what? I haven't heard such a strident piece of apology since Comical Ali in the Iraq War, when he was trying to explain why the Americans...
Everything I said was true, and you can't dispute a word of it. Did you play Donald Trump's clip at Davos? Did you play on this show?
The Americans are not...
On this show...
Let me answer.
Your pal Donald Trump saying Greenland is Iceland. Yes or no?
Mehdi, yes, multiple times. And more than that, I interviewed the Prime Minister. Wait a minute. Yes, and more than that, I interviewed the Prime Minister of Greenland as well. Did you?
So what's that got to do with anything?
What's the matter with you?
You have run cover for Donald Trump. Piers, do you agree? Do you agree that Donald Trump is mad, nuts, deranged, and mentally unfit for office? Do you agree with that? Do you agree
Why do you do this? Why don't you just
agree he's mad?
Just glazing the hell out of Trump, bro. But then again, that's what Piers Morgan does. He does a lot of glazing lately. Now, I'm not shocked and surprised, but shout out to DJ Genesis for even doing this video, because it's like, my God, I just wanted to wait and dissect it. It's like this. I mean, this is literally a nothing burger, but excuse me, this is literally a nothing burger, but this is what Piers Morgan does. He puts certain people on the show, and he goes upon his little rant. And it's like, your little British ass doesn't. I mean, that's all I can say right now. It's a nothing burger. I just got to go forward with this video and see if I can pinpoint something that he said that was shocking, which when I did review it, there was only one thing that was shocking about it. And if you hear some of these people, just like Christy Knowles, it was Christy Knowles and that one ICE officer. You remember when they all sounded identical, the same, when both videos eloped together? They all sounded the same. He's starting to sound like somebody else I can't mention right now. But
say, Mehdi.
I mean, it's a simple question, Piers. People are watching. Do you agree that Donald Trump is mad, deranged,
it's not your show,
unfit for office? Because those are your words, Piers. Those are your words.
When I come on your show,
your words.
When I come on your show,
you call Donald Trump deranged, mad,
time out,
nuts.
I know,
he is the most sum president. You want to rewrite that? He is the most sum president we've had in 16 years. So you would rather have I know what you're saying. So you would rather have a celebrity that praises upon women, praises money, is a failed businessman, owes too much money to people, including top like mob bosses and whatever else, including the people from Israel, and is in trouble with the law, is a 34 convicted felon, about to be 35, broken several laws, including including is accused of war crimes, and he is going to get that. And he's the best president of, and to you, he is the best president of all time. I think the Locas, what y'all be smoking on sometimes. I think the vapes. I think y'all need to put the vapes down. I think some of you need to put the vapes down. I think some of you need to stop going to these crazy parties, because I don't know what's up with y'all, but this is pathetic. This is truly pathetic, guys. Praising the guy. Stay Democrat all you want, right? Stay Republican all you want. You mean to tell me there was nobody else you could have voted for other than that guy? Seriously? The same man who shits on himself in meetings, the same man who can't stay awake, the same man who proclaims that he is healthy when he is fat as shit, and he knows he's fat as shit, but gonna body shame Jasmine Crockett? Are you crazy? Gonna body shame AOC? Are you insane? But I guess we have amnesia when I guess grab a woman by the pussy isn't feasible enough. But all them tax breaks, they look tasty. All them tax breaks look tasty, huh? It doesn't matter what he could be. His father, a former Ku Klux Klanman, who was giving him money in the past, and he's completely fucked that all up. We're talking about a man who had an issue renting out to blacks and Latinas from the beginning. I think it was back in somewhere like 79 or something like that. The same man who created the beauty pageant and went in there and started looking at women's naked bodies and stuff like that had said some weird things about his daughter. But he's the best president that we've ever had in 16 years. I'm going to let you roll with that.
Occasionally, I think he is those things. And as you know, I've said it when I think he is. And when I think he deserves praise, I give him praise. My point is, though, that you're blinking about AOC. No, I think sometimes he's perfectly normal and lucid. Sometimes he does nutty things. Most of the time. Come on, Piers. This is a man who rants about shark attacks, who talked about Arnold Palmer's penis at a rally, who did an impression of someone doing oral sex on a microphone at a rally. There's been no president like this. I hate George W. Bush, but I would put George Bush 100 times above Donald Trump in terms of intellectual and mental fitness for office. You cannot question any Democrat's intellectual fitness for office when you have supported this man, the most deranged man, your words, deranged man, nuts man, in office. Just to be clear, this is a man who couldn't find Taiwan on a map. His life depended on it. Betty, here's the problem. I'm afraid, listen, you know I like you, I respect you very much. You've built an amazing business with Zeteo. Congratulations. But one of the reasons Donald Trump got re-elected is that you guys have got literally Trump derangement syndrome. It plays into his hands. I prefer to be more even-handed with him. I prefer to praise him when he deserves it, and I prefer to whack him when he doesn't. When you're so blindly...
Trump deranged syndrome. Who else said that? Oh, It was Pam Bondi.
You guys are suffering from Trump-Tourette syndrome.
She said the exact same thing. Do y'all read from the same script? Like I said, it doesn't matter as long as you're in power, as long as you are an authoritarian figure, as long as you are making millions and millions of dollars off the backs of poor people. It doesn't matter. I said this before. Donald Trump can literally take a shit, put it in his hands, right, and he can give it to you. And he said, "It's gold. Cash it in." You dumb fucks would literally go and cash that shit in. Cash a piece of shit. Literally. And I say that figuratively because of the number one of the gold cards that he gave to Nicki Minaj, stating that, I mean, the gold card doesn't mean anything. Like I said, he took a shit and he gave the shit to Nicki, and now Nicki posted the shit on X, which thought she made it feasible. Really doesn't do anything. And then, of course, the shoes. You remember this? He literally suckered black folks into buying them ugly ass shoes. And what about the phone? Did y'all get y'all phones yet? Did you get your phones yet? How about the $2,000? How about the $2,000? Did you get the $2,000 yet? Oh, it was 2,000, and then it was 5,000. Did y'all get y'all 5,000 yet? Did the military get their $1,700 check yet? And if they did, how did he pay it off? What did he pay it off of? Y'all gotta think, man. What's the word? What is worse than an authoritarian president? The people who support him. Exactly. But think people. Take Donald Trump out your mind. Wouldn't you rather, here's a question. Wouldn't you rather have Donald Trump, or would you rather have George Bush Senior again? Wouldn't you have George Bush? You know the one that got the shoe thrown at him? Was that Junior or Senior? I can't tell. Yeah, the Bush Senior. Remember Bush Senior threw that? He was ducking and dodging he was like the Matrix. Like, oh. I would rather have George Bush in that month. It was Junior. Okay. So George Bush Jr., I would rather have, again, for the third time, rather than to see this president just get unhinged and say that basically the American people are going to pay for these tariffs, and I'm going to increase it under the law, I think it's 1973 or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and increase this, and you, the American people, are going to pay for these tariffs. And he also said, F the Supreme Court. Those are not my words. Those are his words. Those are not mine. Those are his words.
Enraged by everything, including silly jokes he says. You're so deranged about it. Actually, in the end, you managed to achieve the unthinkable. You managed to help get Trump re-elected. Hold on. He got re-elected with a bigger majority.
Do I get to speak? So, hold on. Let's just deal with a couple of things. The reason he got re-elected, I would argue, is the media gave him a pass. People like you, I came on your show on the eve of his election, and you were telling me all sorts of things. Oh, don't call him a fascist. Meanwhile, we have masked thugs.
He's not a Nazi.
Citizens off the street.
He's not a Nazi.
Cold blood. Shooting.
He's not a
But
Nazi.
I was right about his fascism. You were wrong about his fascism. I was right that he would try and stay in office in 2021. You were wrong about that. His people are shooting Americans.
He didn't stay in office in 2021.
Everything that I said would happen in a second term.
He didn't stay in office.
Years, and you said he was
he's not a Nazi, and he's not a fascist.
Oh my God. Piers, you in January 2021 accused him of trying to stay in office. You said he sent an armed mob to the Capitol. You said he should be removed from office, never be president again. You changed your tune once he got back to the presidency. I get that. That's fine.
No.
I've been right about everything I've said about Trump. And as for being Trump derangement syndrome, it's the very opposite. Even I didn't think he'd be trying to start a war with Denmark. Even I didn't think he'd be shooting Americans in the street 14 months into his presidency. Even I didn't think he'd be this corrupt on this level so openly. So in fact, he's been much worse than those of us who allegedly have TDSs. You have TDS, Piers. You have Trump denial syndrome. When I say to you, is Trump racist? You say, no, he's not racist, even though he calls Somalis low IQ, Piers. Do you agree that Somali people are low IQ? Is that not the most racist thing?
Just to explain, Mehdi, just to explain, this is not your show.
Do you think Somalis are low IQ?
This is not your show, Mehdi.
Do you think Somalis are low IQ?
The glazing is surreal. I think Piers enjoys getting Donald Trump the lotion. And let me stop. I mean, the glaze is surreal, yo. Hey, Barb. Oh, it just dropped off. You know where I'll be in a few minutes. Okay. I'm just telling you that this. Oh my God, the glaze is unreal. How many in the chat think he's a Nazi? Now, I usually say Nazi and really don't give a fuck what people say. Let's say a thing. If I say he's a Nazi, then goddamn it, he's a Nazi. It's called practice. Whenever you let me say this. Whenever you say certain things or mutter certain things 10 times over, then that's practicing Nazism. When you do the things that you do, there's an old saying: if you do not correct your past, you are doomed to repeat it in the present, which makes your future gloomy. Depending upon what you have done in your past. Donald Trump is known for being not only a sexist, but a bigot. He has not learned from that. But he could put $100 bill in your hand and you can say he is the best. Not even $100 bill. He could put $1 in your hand and you say he is the best president for the United States, not only because of that, but because of the wall, which is not even close to being built. Not even close. Did he? I didn't know the wall was built the day of his inauguration. I did not know that. I didn't know that was. I thought he was going to have the Mexicans pay for that. Whatever happened to that shit? I thought he was going to have the Mexicans pay for the wall. Go blue, by the way.
You don't get to interview me for half an hour. It's not your show.
People are worried about your
silence. When I come on your show, I haven't been silent about any of these things. You should watch my show more.
Trump calls Somalis low IQ. Is that not a Nazi thing to say?
Okay, sir, or whoever it was, must be a white guy. Ask me a question, and if I answer it in a particular way that suits you, or if there's some other way we can have a discussion, please, by all means, ask me any question. Ask me any question in the world, since this is a sixth grade, since I come from a sixth grade education. Because apparently Trump, if I come from a sixth grade education, so what is Donald Trump? Failed businessman, doesn't know how to keep his hands to himself, can't stay awake to save his life, is a convicted 34 felon, and I is practicing a sixth grade education. Barb, does this sound like to me? Does this sound remotely correct? What's happening with the building? Does that sound remotely correct? Anybody? Does this sound remotely correct to you? The man is reading from a script. Whatever the KSRs are giving him, he is absolutely reading it because he's following by their rule. Other than that, the man does not even know what half of the shit that he's talked about. He doesn't know half of the shit that he's saying. But then again, that's every president. But this one, he is not fit to become president of the United States of America. Plain and fucking simple. I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat, but I would put a smile on my face if I saw George Bush. Because I would rather see him than this idiot that clearly doesn't have any respect for women and doesn't have any respect for American women and doesn't have any respect for black women. But he for damn sure can have some of these immigrants come from different countries and service him. But then again, like I said, ask me any question. And you got about a good 30 seconds before I kick you in the ass.
Is that you? Okay, I'm not asking you a question.
It's not a Nazi thing to say. No,
I think
it's not a Nazi
thing to say. It is white supremacist rhetoric.
It's not.
Call black
and actually,
calling and low IQ.
The problem is
it's amazing that you're defending.
Okay, Benny,
amazing.
Let's not talk at the same time. No, here's what I'm defending. When people like you on left keep calling Trump a Nazi or comparing him to Adolf Hitler, that is exactly what I'm talking about Trump derangement syndrome. It is so ridiculous, so offensive, so inaccurate. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis murdered 12 million people, including 6 million Jews
Piers,
in a Holocaust. There is zero comparison to be made.
Then why are they pumping out Nazi propaganda from the DHS Twitter account? Why are they using literal Nazi themes and quoting Nazi books? Do you know that they're doing that? Have you checked that out? Go check.
Oh, do you not remember when he did this? Oh, and that was his partner. Well, was his partner. But debunk all that, because I don't even believe in none of that. When you're a billionaire, when you're a trillionaire, you can be mad at each other. You can do all the things in the world. You can cuss at each other. You can have fist fights. But the money brings you together. The fame brings you together. The wealth brings you together because you're looking up high looking up high. Watch my finger. You're looking up high at everyone else. That's what billionaires do. They could care less about you. That's why voter registration is so effed up now, because of, I went too far, didn't I? I think we'll talk about that at a better time. I went too far with that. But the fact of the matter is, Trump doesn't care about you. Elon Musk don't care about you. Bill Gates don't care about you. They just don't. But apparently, do they look like they put America's first? Let's go there. Do they look like they put America first? At least Obama, he faked it for a little while. And it did work for a little while. I give George Bush Sr. more credit than I do anyone else. He put America first. His version of America. Now, even Germany calls Trump's politics for factual. They know what they're talking about. But obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about because I've been talking to 6th grade level. I mean, hey, that might be true. That might be true. But I have a better chance of winning the president of the United States election. If you put me up against Trump, how much you want to bet I'll win? How much you want to bet? Was George Bush Jr. a C+ student? Absolutely. And he became the president of the United States. Jesse Jackson, may he rest in power, once upon a time, was running for the president of the United States. I would have rather saw him, but of course, at that time, they weren't going to give any Negro a chance to run for the president of the United States then. It's the same thing as putting a woman in the presidential seat. Please educate us. Educate us. You're just babbling. Educate us. What did we say that what did we say that was inaccurate? What did we say that was wrong? Please elaborate. What did we say that was wrong? Obviously, this is a Trump supporter. Matter of fact, y'all deal with him real quick.
Get out, I wrote about it. Why are they trying to...
Has he murdered 12 million people?
A man who says, why is he... That's not the definition of a Nazi. That means Nick Griffin's not a Nazi because he didn't murder. You know perfectly well, you don't have to be Hitler to have Nazi views. These are Nazi views. When you put someone in front of Congress right now, they're trying to confirm someone to the State Department, Piers, who says that we need to address the Jewish question, that Jews are victims, that white people are being erased. Are those not Nazi views? Are those not far-right views? Are those not views you want to condemn? This is your friend. You say, Donald Trump is my friend. I'm asking you, Donald Trump, your friend, friends with Epstein. Donald Trump, your friend, says Somalis are low IQ. I'd like you to condemn that.
Mehdi, I don't have to condemn it because I did condemn it when he said it. My team have just sent me the monologue the day after he said it about the Somalis. Do you want to hear what I said the next day?
Sure. Did you call him a racist?
But just as it's absurd and abhorrent to argue that every British Muslim man is a rapist, it's clearly wrong to say that every one of the 116,000 Somalis in the US are thieves or low IQ. That's why many are unhappy with some of the rhetoric pouring from the White House. I did criticize.
I don't hear the word racist there, Piers. Do you not think it's racist to call all black... No, but you didn't call it racist. Of course you criticized it. Did you call it racist? You will refuse to use the R word, I noticed.
I think absurd...
What's TDS? Let me look up TDS real quick. TDS. TDS, what does that stand for? Town Jerome syndrome. Oh yeah, I was tested for Trump Jerome syndrome. I was tested, but apparently I had to get surgicalized and had to get that checked out. But your mama had DICK all up in her MFing mouth surgically, because the day after I had my surgery, right? The day after I had my surgery, I immediately had to go over to the crib to get service because I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain, and your mom was surgically just slurping it, just giving it to me raw. Like, what's going? Oh no! Wash the teeth. Wash the teeth. Wash the teeth. Wash the teeth. Oh yes. And boy, I was in, after 45 minutes of that shit, I felt great. Get that ass banned. Let me get you the fuck up out of here. Stupid deranged syndrome. But anyway, back to business.
And abhorrent says it all, Mehdi. You just didn't know I said it, did you?
No, I don't think it does. I think if you call all Somalis garbage and low IQ, I think that is.
I don't even know how to ban people. Did y'all know how to ban people from there? I don't even know how to ban people from there. They didn't give me the option to ban, I don't think. If y'all got the option to ban, please ban. Let's all say it together. Ban. Shit. I have a fourth grade education. See, this is the world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the world that we live in. We are living in a place where great is feasible. Shooting people in the head is justified. Okay? We're also living in a world where people can break into your house and not have a court order, not have not have anything, but literally, this is what this world has come down to. And when people like me and whoever this guy is on the screen, when we yell out, "This is Nazi Germany all over again" in 1933, people get offended. People also get offended when you call them a skinhead or a fucking Ku Klux Klan member. Is it my fault that you act in that way? Is it my fault that most white folks, not all, but most white folks who believe in this fairy tale that Trump is going to do something for these people, for you white folks? Do you obviously think he is going to do something for you? He has do we not pay attention to the white farmers that he basically just blew in the wind? Do we not pay attention to those farmers? How about, let's see. How about these people how about the 24, I don't know how many secretaries he let go when his first inauguration, after his inauguration, how many secretaries he let go? How many people have lost their jobs under this administration, under this regime, but yet the tariffs are bringing back these special jobs. Make that make sense. Meanwhile, people are starving. People are hungry out here. And everything seems to be a joke. And did I bother to mention he can grab a woman by the pussy and walk away? This is y'all's president. I honestly wish I could take a brain out my home head and just whoop your ass with it. Like, come on. How can you be a Trump supporter after all of this? That's like me saying that I'm gonna bring over to the crib for dinner a man who has been in jail for murder one. He has cleaned up his act. He's cleaned up his act. He's out on good behavior, but he's coming over to the house where your kids stay, where your wife or your girlfriend stay. He wants to come over to the crib. No. In his case, Donald Trump, you're gonna bring Donald Trump over to your house to shake hands with you and shake hands with all the adults, and he sees your 10-year-old child and said, "Oh, you look fabulous. You look mighty developed, even though you're 10 years old. I can't touch you, but when you turn 18, I can touch you." Yeah. Is that appropriate? If you don't want to call it Nazi, then stop doing Nazi things. Exactly. But people get offended. It's just like when I was at DJ Genesis and these white dudes got offended that I even brought it up. No, it's not Nazi Germany. It's like, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. Why does ICE, even though they're not trained officers, they're not trained properly, first and foremost. But they run around the street, they run around the neighborhoods of Minnesota. They're in Maine. Some of them are still in LA. Some of them, I don't know if they deployed away from Portland and in Baltimore. They walked the streets like military soldiers. Back in 1933, that was the same thing then. It was the same exact thing then. Jesus, I can't speak. Ugh. But y'all gonna get you get offended if you don't want people to accuse you of being something that apparently possibly was your ancestry, because again, this is nothing but a white supremacist. This is nothing but a white supremacist trait. Show us who these people are. Point out these people. Tell us who they are and how important they are to these regimes. I'm talking about with Trump attached to the Epstein, fucking everybody who he's important to, who he gets his money from. his account. Well, he doesn't have JP Morgan anymore. I want all these connections, right? Once you point out all these connections and you basically boot him out of office, then we can talk about how this is not what we think it is. When pretty much it is going to be what it is due to the fact that he keeps rinsing, and repeating the same tactics that happened back then in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Doesn't matter. And also people complain is like, well, wow, why are you putting all of this on Trump now? What he did was 30, 40 years ago. I don't give a damn. A rapist is a rapist. A murderer is a murderer. Am I not lying? Am I not lying? And the fact that you would entrust your family, you have family values, but you entrust this nitwit is insane. It's totally insane. So don't get offended, accept it. Just accept it for what it is. The N-word was forced upon us. We didn't spout a word of that shit. All that was, it was forced upon us through chattel slavery. I mean, you don't give an account. White folks don't give an account for what they do back then, but all of a sudden, when it's right here in the president 2026, all that was just back then. We had nothing to do with that. We had nothing to do with what happened back then in Atlanta, when the riots in Atlanta happened. We had nothing to do with Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had nothing to do with Rosewood. We had nothing to do with those. No, you didn't have anything to do with that. You're absolutely right. But you do benefit from that due to your ancestry. I hope you're not another dumb MAGA. Do I look like a MAGA to you? I want you to reword that and come back to me. Do you think I support? Oh, you think I support Trump? That's funny. That's just so funny. Support Trump. I don't think anybody from The Apprentice support Trump fully.
Okay, you're entitled to think that. Every one of the 116,000 Somalis in the US are thieves or low IQ. That's why many are unhappy with some of the rhetoric pouring from the White House. I did criticize.
I don't hear the word racist there, Piers. Do you not think it's racist to call all black? No, but you didn't call it racist. Of course you criticized it. Did you call it racist? You will refuse to use the R word, I noticed.
I think absurd and abhorrent says it all, Mehdi. You just didn't know I said it, did you?
No, I don't think it does. I think if you call all Somalis garbage and low IQ, I think that is white supremacist. I think that is racist. If you post a picture of the Obamas as apes, I think that's racist.
Not to Piers.
Okay, no, you're entitled to think that. Who do you think is going to be the Democrat nominee? No, I meant Mehdi. Who do you think is going to be?
I don't do predictions.
Because
I don't do predictions anymore, Trump. In 2016, I said there wouldn't be Brexit. Trump
who in the
win,
Democratic
so
ranks is impressing you? Who in the Democratic ranks is impressing you?
Yes. So Gavin Newsom impresses me because he's been very good at attacking Trump. I'm not impressed with all his policy positions, but I think he's been very strong in taking the fight to Donald Trump, which is what Democrats want from a leader. Democrats are fed up of having a spineless party. And I think the next nominee is not going to be about left or right. It's going to be about who's a fighter and who's not a fighter. I think Newsom has done very well. I think AOC is insanely popular with the Democratic Party. She's won over everyone across the Democratic political spectrum, center left, far left, everyone. I think she will be formidable. I think Ro Khanna is a progressive voice who's done so much good work on the Epstein files, has won a lot of goodwill across the political spectrum. I think there's going to be a lot of strong candidates. The question is going to be, who are they going to go up against?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. It won't be Donald Trump, I can tell you that. It might be somebody else called Trump.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Who might fancy a run.
We don't know that for sure.
I mean, honestly,
I'm not sure I've ruled out the idea that Donald Trump tries to stay on past 28.
Of course, but my, who I think is the most impressive operator of his whole team is actually Rubio.
Yeah, I mean, Rubio rebranded himself very well. This is a man who once used to call Donald Trump a con man, mocked Donald Trump's penis. Now he's a loyalist going to Munich to push the MAGA, or what I call the mega message now. He went to Munich and said, let's make empire great again. Let's bring back empire. He was praising the empires of the past and saying the Europeans need to get on board with that. He then went to Hungary and endorsed Viktor Orban, a man who he used to criticize. So Rubio's done a complete 180 like JD Vance. We'll see both of them are kind of fake when it comes to their MAGA credentials. It'll be interesting to see if it is Rubio versus Vance, who the MAGA base believes is more of a believer, because neither of them were believers until about 2 minutes ago.
The only reason I would like to see Donald Trump try and run again is purely to see your face. No other reason.
I mean, my face would say, see, Piers, I was right again and you were wrong again.
Have you ever been wrong about anything, Mehdi?
Again, the glazing is fucking surreal. MAGA. MAGA still exists. You still got black folks preaching that MAGA shit. I mean, do what you do, but then afterwards fall on your own sword. Did I mention earlier ago that when the Democrats are gaining ground because a couple of seats have flipped over? Does anybody know the progress, what's going on in Georgia, since Marjorie Taylor Greene no longer is claiming that seat? She is no longer claiming that seat. She is retired because Donald Trump got mad at her and called her a traitor. He calls everybody a traitor. Does anybody know apparently what's going on in Georgia, if anybody lives in the Georgia area? I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna move on. Yeah, but anybody knows who is claiming that seat? Because we even though some seats have flipped, we still gonna need some help. We still going to need some help. What's going on here? Oh, Trump is still at it with these damn tariffs and threatening the Supreme Court. Trump issued tariff threat overruling. Let's see what that's about.
Larger tariffs if they try to take advantage of a Supreme Court ruling. Last week, the United States highest court found the president's tariffs on foreign imports illegal. In response, Trump has promised to find a way around the ruling and has threatened countries trying to act on it. In a Truth Social post overnight, he said any country that wants to play games with the ridiculous Supreme Court decision, especially those that have ripped off the USA for years, will be met with a much higher tariff. And worse than that, which they just recently agreed to, buyer beware. So I think that falls under reciprocal tariffs. We're going back there. Anyway, he says, as president, I do not have to go back to Congress to get approval of tariffs. It's already been gotten in many forms a long time ago.
Wow.
A defiant President Trump is pressing ahead with a new round of tariffs today after really a devastating ruling from the Supreme Court that determined his sweeping emergency trade duties are illegal. This morning, the president announcing on social media that he's raising worldwide tariffs to 15% after signing a 10% global tariff order late Friday. And today, the president continues to lash out at the Supreme Court, calling its 6-3 court decision on his signature economic policy extraordinarily anti-American. I want to bring in CNN's Julia Benbrook, who joins us now live from the White House. So, Julia, what do we know about these tariffs and the president's plans moving forward?
Yeah, Omar, when the Supreme Court ruled yesterday that President Donald Trump violated federal law when he unilaterally imposed sweeping tariffs across the globe, which is, of course, a key part of his agenda during the second term, he made it very clear that he was not happy, and he doubled down. In fact, he announced that he was imposing a 10% additional tariff on top of levies already in place, and it could be enacted using this different law referred to as Section 122, and that could be temporarily in place for up to 150 days. Then it would need congressional approval to go more long term. But as you mentioned this morning, he announced that he was going to raise that rate even higher. I want to pull up his social media post for you now. In it, he said, in part, I, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately, raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries, many of which have been ripping the U.S. off for decades without retribution until I came along to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level. Now, the executive order that he signed for the 10% tariff did say that it would go into effect early Tuesday. So we have reached out for the White House for any clarification on the timeline with this 15% rate, if it would remain the same. But
he's going to bankrupt America. But you can't bankrupt America because we're already bankrupt. You're putting the onus on the lower class. I think it is high time for, the American people, if they feel, to march the streets and, let me rethink that. Don't do anything until late October. Don't do anything until late October and get together and have a coup so we can get this beast out of here. Because if you don't want to deal with all these unnecessary things, can we just keep it 100? He's just making himself rich. He'll do any and everything to make himself and his family, including his 2 sons, rich. Let me read some of the comments down here. Let me be fair. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I mean, he's ripping y'all a new asshole, and y'all don't even know it. I personally thought America was much better under Obama. To be determined. Too bad progress not only didn't support. I think I've seen this Jason here before. The lady said the way he did it was wrong, but he can do it anyway. Of course he's going to do it. He's the president of the United States. Not my president. Not only that, this was done before with another president. What was it done over? Do you have a name? Not only this is done for another president and did not say it was illegal, this is the first time that he said it was illegal, and another president before him. So what you were saying is that him being denied and having to pay most of that money back, and he's going to have to pay that money back. Oh my goodness. And you know what? I said this the other day, right? I said, Georgia's going to be in the mix. We're in the mix. Nevadians are in the mix. We want our 2.1 billion. We want our 2.1 billion. We want it back. We want it back. Illinois wants 1.5 billion. Yikes. He's going to have to pay that money back. He's like, oh, that's such a disappointment. Oh, that's just such a disappointment. It's a disappointment for you, but then again, it's not going to hurt him. That's my point. None of this is going to hurt him because he's already rich. It's not going to hurt him. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt every American, right, who is on the lowest of the totem pole. If you're not making 7, 8, 9 figures, it's not going to even matter. That's my point. Yes, stupid people can go on. Wait. Now we're getting it back. Yes, stupid people can go on YouTube and do what this idiot does daily. And it is, but have the tariffs replace taxes. I'm still paying tax. You're going to pay taxes no matter what. I think, call me crazy, but I think reparations, right? Reparations should be, black folks shouldn't have to pay taxes for the next 25 years. That should be reparations. Enough. We should get our taxes and not have to pay tax for the next 25 years. That call me crazy, but that'll be enough for me. That way we can catch up on our bills. We can see if we can build on something. You know what I mean? But in my lifetime, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. That would not happen. Well, Georgia is going to be tough for Democrats doing. I thought Georgia was blue. I thought Georgia was Democratic. Obviously, I was wrong. There are 22 candidates running for Marjorie's seat. 17 of them are Republican. Jesus. So you mean to tell me there's not one Democrat? Wow. Well, Georgia's wait a minute. Whatever happened to Andrew Yang? Ain't Andrew Yang in Georgia? Y'all remember Andrew Yang? I thought Andrew Yang was in Georgia. We need them seats flipped.
But he has been lashing out at the justices who ruled against him. We saw 2 justices that he appointed, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, as well as Justice Neil Gorsuch. They joined Chief Justice John Roberts and the 3 liberal justices in the majority opinion. And during his press conference yesterday, Trump said that he was deeply disappointed and ashamed of some of those justices. When he was pressed on the 2 that he appointed specifically, he had some strong words. Take a listen.
Are you surprised in particular by their decision today? And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth, the two of them.
And then on the flip side of that, he has been praising those who sided with him here. In a post this morning, he said that Justice Brett Kavanaugh was his, quote, new hero on the Supreme Court, and added that those that dissented, he said, really believed that they could make America great again, using his own campaign slogan to describe the judicial branch here. And I also wanted to note on Tuesday, we could see a really interesting visual. Trump is set to give his State of the Union address, and that's when we typically see those justices sitting there on the front row. I have no doubt that he will likely have some criticism for this, and we may get to see those reactions in real time.
We will see. Julia Benbrook, appreciate the reporting as always. Meanwhile, many of the U.S. trading partners around the world are welcoming the Supreme Court ruling that declared Trump's global tariffs illegal, but they're also expressing uncertainty about this ruling and how Trump's new announcement of tariffs on all countries will impact trade. CNN's Will Ripley has the global reaction to the court ruling.
Really, the word you're hearing around the world right now is uncertainty. In Europe, the reaction is cautious but pointed. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed the decision, saying it shows the value of checks and balances. Macron also said, after Trump announced a new 10% global tariff, that France would assess the consequences and adapt, stressing trade should be based on reciprocity, not unilateral decisions. More broadly, in Brussels, the European Commission says and seeking clarity from Washington, emphasizing businesses need stability and predictability. In the UK, the government says it expects its favorable trading position with the US to continue, but Britain's business community says this ruling does not really clear up much, especially since other tariffs remain in place under separate laws. Here in Asia, the tone is measured. South Korea says it will comprehensively review the ruling and discuss next steps. New Zealand says any tariff reduction would be welcome, but warns uncertainty with US trade policy is likely to persist. And here in Taiwan, right at the center of President Trump's tariff strategy, officials are watching this Supreme Court ruling very closely, trying to figure out what actually changes. And President Trump is still framing this around Taiwan and chips. He talked about Taiwan at his press conference at the White House.
Taiwan came in, they stole our chip business. Now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and
It's quite funny how he would mention that everybody is stealing money from him, basically. He's not saying that. He's not putting America first, people. He's not putting America first. When he says that Taiwan and Canada and New Mexico, all these other countries that are doing wrong to America, but literally ask yourself, what did Jasmine Crockett tell you? And this is the part where people need to protect her on this. But when you follow the money, you're trending in that dark territory. But who's getting the money at the end of the day? Remember when he was preferring to all the naysaying about, the fraud, what do you call these people? Swahili, not Swahili. The Somalians. The Somalians are creating fraud and collecting money from the government when actually they had legit businesses. They're committing fraud in these areas. Maybe in some areas, but not all. But they're committing mostly fraud. We need to get these people from fraud. They sent a random YouTuber up to a random business. And I don't know if they had it shut down or not. But if that, we're talking about a daycare center where actual real people go to a real daycare center owned by real people and follow by the rules accordingly. But because of this, look at this motherfucker. Because of this president, would you invite him to your house? Come on, seriously, y'all. Think it ain't illegal yet. But he might make it illegal. Oh, he's made it. He's trying to make it illegal for us to think. He's trying to make it illegal for us to speak. To practicing the First Amendment, trying to take our First Amendment rights away from us vis-a-vis YouTube.
Various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States.
Last year, for the first time in decades, U.S. imports from Taiwan overtook those from China. December data shows imports from China fell sharply while imports from Taiwan surged. Taiwan's cabinet says it's closely monitoring the ruling and insists the newly announced 10% global tariff would only have limited effects here. But the reality is nobody's entirely sure how this plays out and what will happen when President Trump flies to Beijing to meet Chinese leader Xi Jinping at the end of next month. Will Ripley.
I don't get that either. First, I think this is a different person. First, his first term, they're talking shit to each other. And then he goes over there and they're shaking hands and beating each other's meat and whatever and playing video games. And then they're back on Twitter fighting again. Like, I don't know what's going on. But whatever happens, none of it says that he supports the American people. None of that shit of what he is doing now, what he did then versus what he's doing now, even though it's the exact 180, what he said then back in 2016 versus what he is stating right now. None of it, good, bad, or indifferent, has anything to do with us. Simply because he is robbing us day after day and is going to continue to rob you with these high-ass prices. Believe it or not. Don't want to believe it? Please believe it. Please fucking believe it.
CNN, Taipei.
And while these tariffs have global implications, as you just heard from Will Ripley, some of the plaintiffs who sued the Trump administration over its sweeping tariffs were small businesses here in the United States. And while these companies won the legal battle, some still face personal attacks and seven-figure legal fees. This morning, one of the CEOs from the Supreme Court case spoke with CNN's Victor Blackwell.
It was a threat to our existence, and so we had to pursue this and to have the court stand with us that in our contention that it was an unlawful tax, and to also to reinforce the rule of law meant a lot to us. We're proud of this. It's very difficult to assign us the task of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again when the government shoved him off the top of the wall. So I'm not sure how we do that. The approach that we've taken when considering this equitable question is to return our prices as quickly as we can to where they would have been.
CNN correspondent Gloria Pazmino joins me from New York. Gloria, what are you hearing from business owners?
Yeah, you know, Omar, it's interesting hearing the CEO. Which helped bring this lawsuit ultimately to the Supreme Court, talking about how he's hoping that prices can sort of bounce back, right? That prices will in fact go.
Hold on. I think this is breaking news. Wait. No. But it does say, hold on. Something about China. Hold on a second. Trump blasts Supreme Court. We all know about that. Trump blasts Supreme Court for striking down tariffs, blah, 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 blah. But what's this thing about China? What is this thing about China? Did I hit the wrong thing? China responds to U.S. tariffs overturning. Beijing on Monday warns there are no winners in a trade war after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against a draft of tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump last year, dealing with a blow to what has become a cornerstone of his foreign policy. Why it matters. In a rare move, two Trump appointed justices joined in a 6-3 decision to strike down sweeping tariffs posed by the president under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Trading duties are typically the demand of progress or Congress, not progress, Congress. I do apologize. The only branch within the constitutional authorization to levy taxes. Go up. The 1979 Act grants the president, so it was 1979, so I was right, grants the president limited authority to address major foreign threats through economic measures. So he's not doing this by himself. I love Jasmine too. She's got to fight. Yeah, China wants their money back. Everybody wants their money back. Canada want their money back. Mexico want their money back. I don't know, but hopefully I get the cash on another ticket. Oh, I'm so happy. Always Monday. Crap. I should call into work tomorrow. Should, but I'm not. The 1979 Act grants the president limited action for the foreign relations through the economic measures. Trump argues that trade defensive rose to this level of threat. He also cited a flow of the deadly I don't know that word. Well, I'll just write it down and I'll just cite it out. I'll just figure it out later. Finances leading to additional tariffs on top of the U.S. trade partners, China, Canada, and New Mexico. So I was right. Beijing responded with a range of tit-for-tat measures on its own. Typical. Any more? Nope. So I guess that's it. Nah, I'm gonna do it on my own, cause I guess I could, since I love you so much. I guess you've been helpful this entire time, even though you do get on my damn nerve. Where was I? I never heard of this word before. I think it's opioid. I never heard of that word before. Opioid fentanyl. No. It's opioid. Never mind. Opioid fentanyl. So, starting over, Trump argued that trade defensive rose to a level of threats. The very small little fentanyl. Very, very small little fentanyl. He also cited the flow of the deadly opioid fentanyl leading to an additional tariffs. Blah, 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 China. Yeah. So they were still on that fentanyl trip. You know how much money that is that he had spent, and he had, well, let's talk about the money he collected. Overall money. How much money did Donald Trump collect? How much? Wow! 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 Although I'm not surprised at this. A conservative narrative reading of public disclosure demonstrates at least $1.6 billion in reporting outside revenue tariffs, outside revenue, emergency money, outside revenue, aka healthcare benefits, aka SNAP benefits. He's collecting money through your taxes. Outside revenue during his first presidency and congressional reporting professional reporting and documents, millions in foreign payments to his businesses while in office, boarding claims that the presidency made Trump an additional billion hinged on contingent net worth estimating point. Yeah, whatever. There's no point in reading the rest. You get the point. Have you seen this supposed wall? Everybody can Google the fucking wall. Any and everybody can Google that wall and see that thing is unfinished. Anybody, even if it was finished, have you seen that wall? Anybody can climb over that wall. What do I call it? Trump's wall. Do I call it Trump's wall? Look at the. This is. You call this? You call this a wall? It don't take but a couple few Mexicans hand and foot to climb over that stupid ass wall. Who's guarding that wall? Ain't nobody climbing. Negative Mexican gonna be climbing that damn wall. What about did he solve the Cuban situation? Did he solve that one? You know there's still Cubans coming over here. You do know that, right? But again, it goes back to my question. You want the Puerto Ricans to leave. You don't want them voting. But how much you want to bet the South Africans, the white South Africans that he led over here, who speak a different language, by the way, how much you want to bet he's going to have them? Oh my God. How much you want to bet he's going to have? Africans can't vote for white South Africans can. Just as long as they're loyal to him. Does that make any sense to you? Oh, what about the Asians? I almost forgot about the Asians. By the end of that. The ones that said the same ones that Margie Taylor Greene said that this is not American, which she is right. She was right. I've heard it is short fencing. It is. Look, there's another one. Look at this. Mexicans can climb that damn wall. You see the guy right there. If you ever seen World War Z, people can climb that damn wall. This is funny. If you had the National Guard defending it, I can understand that. But that anybody can climb that damn wall. Please. I don't mind I don't mind certain open borders. But then again, you got too many. I'm more concerned about the black people who are going to be deported. All right, that would be a major fucking blow. Climbing the fucking wall.
Go down and that things will normalize a bit after this decision. But the reality here on the ground, talking to small business owners, is that they are not so hopeful that is going to be the case. And the reason for that is they point to this constant state of uncertainty after the tariffs were even after this decision from the Supreme Court yesterday, and the president's comments since that decision has been made, including the comments that he made earlier this morning, have just created a lot of open questions about, one, whether prices can come down and whether or not there are going to be new tariffs that will be coming into place. Now, there are many sectors of the economy that have been affected by these tariffs, including specific lines of products that have seen a significant price increase. Shoes, for example, a majority of shoes that are sold in the United States of America are imported. And so for small businesses that are independent, they have been severely impacted by these tariffs. And so every day while they're trying to run their business, they're having to make a lot of decisions. It's a balancing act, trying to decide how do they adjust their marketing, how do they adjust their business plan to make sure that they are not passing on the increased costs to the consumer. Take a listen.
When there's all this uncertainty, it is difficult to, make certain plans. We're still going to have to do business the same way that we have been. We're still going to have to make conscientious choices about our buying, about how keeping our customers at the forefront of our mind at every turn, because at the end of the day, there can always be more tariffs, especially since tariffs are a tool that can be used in economic policy and foreign policies.
One thing.
And to keep in mind that the tariffs not only does it hurt you in your pocketbook, it also hurts you food-wise, because there are going to be people that are not going to be paying for anything. They're just going to look the other way. And then when you look and you see that the goods that are being imported through other countries, that are not, you can't import any food from other countries because of how much you're taxing. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm slow. I have a 6th grade education. So due to the fact that you have these particular tariffs, these cargo ships that are imported into the country, he's going to put a fee on the people who are importing that shit in. We're going to have to pay for that shit through taxes. 15%. 15% that we're going to have to pay for the imports coming into the country. And because and people complain about food shortages, or if not food shortages, it's going to be very expensive vis-a-vis milk, cereal, crackers, soup, meats. Your meats are going to be much, much expensive coming in. And again, you're going to have to pay for that. And did we not discuss taxes? Did we not discuss rent? Your car note, your insurance, your insurance for your car. Did we even discuss those things? Or how about your little side money that you place your side money for your sons and your daughters to do activities after work? Did anybody forget about that? It's going to affect the American people. It's going to affect the American people whether you know it or not. Unless the Supreme Court pulls their head out of their ass and tells him no, and if he does it, we will take his immunity away from him. Because that's the only thing that's stopping him right now. That's the only thing that's stopping him right now. Along with the SAVE Act, along with his immunity, those are the only two things that are stopping them from doing more damage. And he's putting America first. The only reason why is he's continuing with the tariffs, even though it's going to take a little bit longer for it to go through. I think it's like 150 days or something like that. The price of the cars are going up, but if you need to buy a car, think about buying now because the dealerships are desperate. Depending on how much they want, because I'm not paying for $500 a month. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm thinking about just going over here and see how much homeboy want for that car out there, and just doing that from there. I'm doing it. Oh, and Barb, you are going to get mad at me. You are going to get mad at me. Even though I don't want to tell you you are going to get mad at me. So I'll save it for later. I will save it for later. What's going on here? Oh, the polling. Okay. I'm talking about a new car. The type of car that I want, they want too much money for. So.
And on how people are feeling about how Trump is doing in this moment.
Yeah, okay. I would borrow the phrasing of Tony Blair, of course, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, saying weak, weak, weak. It was weak over there in the United Kingdom. It is weak here in the United States when it comes to President Trump. Okay, Trump's net approval rating. Look at all the pre-SOTUS polls, the State of the Union. Look at this. Okay, we're at this point. Look at that. Negative 27 points. My goodness gracious, the snow is up to the knees here in New York City, and Trump seems to be well underneath it at this point. Compare that to where he was in 2020, 2019, and 2018 in term one going into those State of the Unions. Minus 10, way lower now. Minus 15, way lower now. Minus 15, way lower now. The bottom line is this: Donald Trump has never been weaker going into a State of the Union address, according to our CNN polling, than he is right now, and weaker by a considerable amount.
So this is his first term to his second term. How does it compare to other presidents at this point in their second term?
Yeah, okay. It's not just that Donald Trump is breaking records compared to himself when it comes to State of the Union. He's breaking records compared to other presidents at this point going into a State of the Union. What are we talking about? Look at all the 21st century presidents on your screen right here. About at this point in the second term going into the State of the Union. Trump at minus 27 points. Obama was at minus 15 points. George W. Bush was at minus 11 points. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that minus 27 points is considerably lower than minus 15 or minus 11. So Trump isn't just weaker than he's ever been going into a State of the Union address. He is weaker than any other president this century going into a State of the Union address at this point in their second term.
We're talking about it all throughout the show as we're going through these numbers, but talk about what is driving this drop for the
What is driving this drop? I said record was the name of the game when it came to this segment, right? Talking about the lowest Trump has ever been going into the State of the Union, the lowest that any president has been this century going into a State of the Union. At this
I wonder why.
It is also the weakest that Donald Trump has ever been with independence. Look at this drop. We've been talking about it the past few months. At this point, a year ago, Donald Trump was at minus 13 points. Look at this. Minus 47 points among independents, the lowest down.
Does anybody know what that means? Please, does anybody know what that means? What I put it? Please tell me, because I have a 6th grade education, according to some people. I have a 6th grade education, so I don't know what that means. Yeah, he's yet telling y'all that he has a high approval rating. He has the best high approval rating ever. It's just like I have 1 million views online, even though he got one person listening to him. Like, share, and subscribe. God. He influenced. I forgot the word. Me as who just listens to what he states. They act like robots. I have never seen a person be so stoned. And when he calls them up to the podium, they automatically flinch. But he does the exact same thing, bowing down to the Khazars. He does the exact same thing. So I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Barb, I got that credit card. But anyway, flurries make me super angry. And infuriated, make me super infuriated. It doesn't infuriate me because I mean, I feel for y'all. I do. I really, 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 really do. I really, 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 really do. But hey, look, the only way to change the situation is to go vote. But how that's going to go about is not super scary, but scary. Here's the thing. If it still doesn't pass, I'm going to repeat this once again. The House passed the SAVE Act. The Congress passed the SAVE Act. The Senate did not. So you can still use your license. You can still use your license. However, update every damn thing. If you don't have a passport, get one. I suggest you try your best to try and veto this vis-a-vis by petition or something like that. But it has to be a number which is gonna shake Congress. It has to be a number. It has to be a number so large enough that it's going to. It's got to be in the millions. I gotta tell you straight up. Other than that, you're gonna have a whole bunch of. You're gonna have like a downpour percentage of voters, right? You're not gonna have women vote, and you're not gonna have immigrants vote. Because married women, of course, make up 85% of America, black or white, and they have the man's last name. So, and this is where early voting comes in too. This is where early voting helps. And he has also banned mailing. So you can't mail your votes in either, according to him. But you do what you can. We're gonna do what we can to get him up out. And as far as ICE is concerned, if this threat is real, if the threat is real for ICE to come out to these polls wherever the voting is going to be in November, you got to come out in the millions, man. It's time to put up or shut up. If you want Donald Trump out of office, or I'm just gonna say this: deal with it. Don't go and deal with them in the next 3 years and see what happens. It's going to be more devastating. Trump has overstayed his welcome. He no longer needs to be in office. He needs to be in somebody's jail. And we haven't even gotten to the whole Epstein files yet. Although people keep sending me through my feed all these photos of him kissing underage girls, but whatever. People don't want to get incriminated. People don't want to incriminate them, hold their mans accountable. I've seen all types of mess from those files. It's a mess. Even the letters themselves, it's a mess. It is a whole mess. But you want to entrust your kids. You want to shake hands with the devil. Going through those whole files and seeing his accomplishment do all types of crazy stuff to the young girls from back then. But do you know what happens when the empires start crumbling? People start pointing fingers. Trump's pointing fingers at the Clintons. Clintons are pointing fingers back at Trump and at Eli, and they're just pointing fingers at each other. Trump don't want any type of accountability. He has 34 felon convictions on the date of inauguration, and yet he has decided that it wouldn't be a good time to put him in jail. Why? Damn, I had the answer and I went blank. I had the answer for you and I went blank. But I know it had something to do with the girl that he had great physically. I think her name is Eugene Carroll. I think it has something to do with that. Because he was sued in civil court, and it didn't go to federal court for some odd crazy reason. I want to talk about the credit card before you leave. What credit card? Trump's credit card? Yeah, Trump said something. He was going to do something with some credit cards. Yeah, he was going to do something with them credit cards. Definitely. So, what? What? Huh? I said, huh? Okay. I gotta run real quick. I gotta run real fast. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. All right, you caught me. That damn it.
Trump has ever been in either of his 2 terms as president with independents. That is driving these numbers. When you're 47 points underwater with independents, that's the name of the game. You can't be above water overall. And that's why Donald Trump is near record lows overall and the lowest he's ever been going into a State of the Union address.
We have a new CNN poll out this morning with President Trump's approval rating at 36%. That's lower than President Biden was at this point 4 years ago, and it's down 12 percentage points since a year ago, just last February. Just 32% of Americans say the president is focused on the right priorities. 68%, nearly 7 in 10 Americans say he is focused on the wrong things. This morning, the president had this to say about tomorrow's address.
Greatest economy we've ever had. We have the most activity we've ever had. I'm making a speech tomorrow night, and you'll be hearing me say that. I mean, it's going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about.
I'm joined by a terrific group of reporters. Kristen, I'm going to start with you. And we just showed the overall approval rating, but the story is deep in the poll with several of the key demographics. I'm going to start with independence. This is one of the most remarkable stories here. If you look at where the president was in January of 2021, this is January 6th, the attack on the Capitol, this is in the middle of COVID, 32%. Now he's at 26% among independents, which means only a quarter of independents in the United States of America approve of the job that he is doing.
Yeah, and he's very aware of that. Now, of course, I don't think any of us are surprised that he's going to be giving a long speech tomorrow. Long in his terms, though. I mean, that seems like it might be really, really long. I think it was 90 minutes before. Right. I mean, if he's calling it long, it might be a little bit of a doozy. But, when it comes to independence, when it comes to the job that he's doing, there is a lot of frustration inside the White House. It's not as though he is not seeing these polls. We know that he is reliant on these polls. We know that he is seeing polls on a regular basis from his own in-house pollsters. And that's why you're hearing a lot more frustration when it comes to the president, when you're hearing him give these speeches saying essentially, even just now in this event that he was doing with these angel families, talking about how the media never gives him good coverage. He never gets credit for anything that he's doing. He believes that this is the media's fault, that this is his...
You keep treating them like trash. That's the reason why. You keep treating them like shit, calling them piggies and all that other shit. And I don't speak to you, you're fake news. That would be the reason why. Nobody wants to put up with your shit either. And who appointed you to body shame anyone the way you looking right now? You look like, never mind, let me not do that. Let me not do that. But he has the backing, he has the power and the backing of the people. And Americans have voted him in. Now, here's the question. Do we make the same mistake again? Wait, power to the... Do we make that same mistake again? No. But he is putting in, let me remind you, if you don't know, if you do know, then you know. What makes you think he won't take it to the federal level? Or he's going to try all he can to take it to the federal level. But he don't even have faith in Congress. He doesn't have faith in Congress, and he damn sure don't have faith in the Senate. And now he doesn't have faith in the Supreme Court anymore. But what gets done? What's going to get done about it? Because it's just going to get worse from here. It's just going to get way worse from here. His little temper tantrums are going to get way worse. And I don't know why these conservatives are still supporting him to this day. I just don't know why. Again, we live in a world where people can get away with murder. Hell, he said it himself. He can get away with, he can shoot. He said it himself. He can shoot somebody in broad daylight and just walk free like nothing happened. Like he was G Money or something from New Jack City. It's like, booyah, your face in broad daylight. Rockabye, baby. It's insane. Totally insane. Like I said, I would rather have, but you can be a Republican. I don't knock Republicans for being Republican. You want to be Republican, that's your business. But anybody else, you could choose The Rock. You could choose Dwayne Johnson as a Republican. Or Stephen A. Smith. No. Let me take that back. Wait a minute. That would be interesting. How many of you would pick Stephen A. Smith or The Rock to be the next president of the United States? That'd be, my God, that'd be something. His virtues are ignorance. Serious has whole track record with business. Forgive me if I can't read your questions thoroughly because I do not have my trifocals. I'm ignorant. I have a sixth grade education. I can't read, according to some people. We have to let it get worse and let the checks and balance take over. You mean let the checks crash? Because again, he's giving out money, yet without the authority of not the Supreme Court, the House and the Senate. So basically, he's ignoring the branch. He's ignoring the branch. He's ignoring the Constitution, even though he talks about the Constitution, but it's in a script. So basically, we're fucked up until November. Which, by the way, I'm not in Texas, by the way. Any Texarkanians up in here, make some noise. Any Texarkanians up in here, please shout yourselves out. And do the early voting. You got until this weekend, and that's it. You got this weekend, and then that's it. I remember him saying he could shoot. Yeah, he said it himself. He could shoot a person in broad day, even though he was trolling. But then again, he also said that he can deploy the military on the United States of America and America's soil under the Insurrection Act. No accountability. No accountability whatsoever. But this is a lesson learned, people. For those who don't know, read into Nazi Germany. Read how Hitler in his mind thought he was the good guy. Through his native tongue, he thought he was doing good. Yeah, by roasting babies and throwing people in the pits of fire. But he saved dogs. Anybody who was messing with the dogs found themselves in a heap of trouble. Make that make sense. I wouldn't choose either based on popularity. Based on popularity, I absolutely wanted to let the baby on the Jimmy Carter too. What do we want Jimmy Carter to run? I wanted Ross Perot to win. I was young then, young and stupid. I was screaming Ross Perot. And I was dumb. I was what? What was I, 16? I think I was 16 then. I was with my dad and I was like, this is Ross Perot. And then he got sick. And then that was it. But seriously, take your ass out there, start voting and vote early. If you can vote early. And if you want to support Jasmine Crockett, you can support Jasmine Crockett in other ways. You can support Jasmine Crockett through her website and, give her $5 or $10 so she can continue to whoop ass. She's a threat. She is a total threat. She's a threat to Trump. She is a threat to this Republican Party and the Democrats. She's having a little trouble with the Democratic side, and this is the reason why I'm thinking she doesn't give a fuck about the system, and not entirely. Okay, good. You're doing better now. Ross Perot was not one of the for this. Hey, I just thought it was a cool name. I was young then. I thought it was a cool name. It's just the same thing as I made the mistake of not doing research on Barry Soweto. I made that mistake. That was my fault. And I voted for him twice. And I had each and every single time I was thinking, like, I'm going to just sit this one out. I got my relatives yelling at me, talking about people fought for your right to vote. People fought and died for your right to vote in this country. It's like, this is stupid. It's a disappointment. And I started building a shield of armor, and I said, they died for whose right? Not for America. because we weren't even considered America, let alone Americans. But we fought for your rights, not ours. Hell, you didn't even want to lend. You didn't even want to lend the African back then a gun. You didn't want to lend them a gun or a knife. But they fought under your Confederacy, so you had to give them guns. Have you watched Glory? Man, y'all the best chat ever. Y'all are the best chat ever, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all are the best chat. I think sadly Jasmine may be too new for presidency. Look, nobody is too new for presidency. You look at Donald Trump's situation. He didn't know anything about politics. He knows everything about money and business, but that's two different things. That's just two different things. But she could get there. She could definitely get there, bro. She's just gotta. That's why she has advisors. She has advisors telling her stuff. And of course, she has a team of people who are backing her 100% on whatever she does. I like parole too. But through shaky, thought shaky about him being a businessman, kind of like Trump. I didn't know shit about parole and what is. I should relook, because hopefully I don't run into shit. He's this, he's that. Hopefully I don't run into any of that shit. He's a Klansman and all that. I hope he's not a Klansman. I hope not. Who still don't know everything? What you talking about? What you talking about?
His own PR's fault, and that's the reason that he's not getting the credit, and that's why the polls are bad, not because of what he is focused on.
It's because how people feel out there. Mm-hmm. And you obviously every day talk to people who are on the ballot in just a few months.
Yeah, and can he actually say, I know the answer to this question, but I'll just ask it anyways. Can he actually show some empathy to what the American public is feeling right now, which is not, everything is so great, the economy is amazing, this is the best ever, and trying to cheerlead his way into convincing Americans that they're not feeling how they're feeling? Can he move in a direction saying, look, we understand there's pain right now that people are feeling. We are working on it to deal with it in X, be very specific. We're dealing with X, we're dealing with Y, we're dealing with Z. That's not really in Donald Trump's DNA. So I think we can expect him to try to convince a very skeptical American public. Like tomorrow is going to be probably his biggest audience he's going to have before the midterm elections, and his opportunity to try to reset some Americans' perceptions of how the job that he is doing in office. But this midterm is going to be a referendum on him, which is why those numbers are freaking out Republicans who are going to be on the ballot in November.
Yeah, I mean, independents are, not only the swing voters, but they are the sort of telltale sign of where things are headed with regard to the next time there's a major election. And it's really, really bad for Republicans. The Latino vote, this is another stunning change for the president. This is 1 year ago. If you look up on the screen, 1 year ago, February of 2025, 41% with Latinos. Now it has literally plummeted to 22% approval rating among Latino voters.
Yeah, and that was really one of the big questions from the 2024 election, was whether the support that the president had gotten from Latino voters will hold. We started to see some cracks in that coalition, thinking back to the New Jersey governor's race, where Mikey Sherrill made up a lot of ground with the Latino voters who had shifted towards President Donald Trump. But there's frustration within the Latino community about those same issues troubling everyone, cost of living and the economy, but also the approach to immigration. And so it'll be interesting to see if there is any way for Trump to kind of gain that type of ground back, but also what it means for other Republicans. I'm thinking about all those districts down in Texas, where you have large Latino populations that they felt were shifting towards Republicans. That may not exactly be the case in the next midterm election.
And Emily, I know you're seeing some of this already play out in the special election in Georgia to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was down there last week, and this is a group of people who are reliably conservative, who help send Trump.
The demographic groups, he's
plummeted among young voters pretty much the same amount that he did with Latino voters. Barely even registers there, Kristen.
Issue President Trump should talk about at State of the Union. The economy, which he just blurs out. We're doing great because everything is going down. Inflation is going down. And immigrants are out the country. Healthcare is phenomenal. Whatever. This is depressing. This is fucking depressing. He will not admit to his flaws. He is not that type of guy to admit to anything. Oh Lord. Even Joy Reid's trying to get I don't want to review that. Joy Reid's trying to get a crack at him because, of course, they have it to where Epstein is holding Donald Trump. It looks like Donald Trump is wearing a dress or something like that. It was like, look, I want to view, like, I want 100% of those files so we can all review it. That's what I want. I don't want none of this fake shit. AJ Styles is retiring, finally. Let's see. What's going on?
This year. See all of these people standing and waiting in line to go into the White House reception for Black History Month.
Why they all look like they just answered a Craigslist ad? Why it look like how long I gotta be here? They didn't say they was gonna be using photography. Nobody said.
Well, we could mix and we could mingle amongst each other and shit. So imagine a world if all of us were just one color. If all of us was just blue or green. Oh, if everybody was smart, you gotta have some dope people. Oh, what if everybody was rich?
Oh yeah, y'all remember the mess that was last year? Had them dancing and everything.
Well, we could mix. Well, we could mix and we could mingle amongst each other and shit. So imagine a world if all of us was just one color. If all of us was just blue or green. Oh, if everybody was smart, you gotta have some dope people. Oh, what if everybody was rich? Who will take the trash out?
And let's see exactly how much has changed in 365 days. That's a year, MAGA. That's it. See how much has changed since last year.
Wait, you support Trump? You a Trump supporter? I'm a Trump supporter. Why? I'm a crazy one. I'm not Uncle Tom. I'm Uncle Tom's favorite nephew.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. You know, at least there's some self-awareness this year. At least there's some self-awareness. They see what we see. The Lake Up is crazy. I guess this year you guys can commiserate over new excuses that you can offer for Donald Trump literally hating you. Amid the fallout from the Obama video, Trump has also been feuding with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, the nation's only black governor, excluding him from a bipartisan gathering of governors at the White House. Early in his second term, Trump ordered federal agencies to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and has sought to reshape how history is presented, complaining in a social media post that the Smithsonian Institution was too focused on how bad slavery was. On February 16th, a federal judge strongly rebuked the Trump administration and ordered the reinstatement of slavery exhibits at the president's house site in Philadelphia. The Trump administration is appealing the ruling. And you know, that's just for starters. I got a whole year of content out of Trump's anti-blackness, but all he had to do was put a Pillsbury hologram in the air, and y'all came running.
So happy Black History Month, happy Black History Year, and happy Black History Century. Thank you all. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, Trump better be careful. He getting pretty close to DEI. You know what I mean? He getting pretty close to anti-white racism. You know what I mean? What's that, Black MAGA? Oh, he can say happy Black History Month, but y'all can't. Y'all can't. You just gotta let him. I guess that's executive privilege. I guess that's it. I guess that's what that is. You know, he gotta say Black History Month. We just gotta clap because if we said it, it would be anti-white racism. Ain't that right? Uh-huh. Black MAGAs at the Black History Month reception, skinning and grinning.
No, not so.
Hey. Did you ask Paul Clyde Frazier if you could use that? Okay.
No, they did. No, he did not go to Sokoa. No, he did not just do a Sokoa. No.
Have some respect. Style and profile now.
I don't need them to got shit on their racist stuff.
Hey, who grandma missing? Who grandma missing? Well, give her.
Oh boy. Some people just want a seat at the table. I wonder how Harriet Tubman feels. I'm about to say Harriet Trump. I wonder how she feels. That woman is rolling in her grave right now. It's like I would do anything to get up somebody's body with my spirit, grab that gun, and start blasting off each and every single one of them peoples who, it's just terrible. Anybody who support Trump, who support the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, period, needs to feel my wrath. She is rolling in her grave right now. She freed thousands of slaves and could have freed millions more. But some of them didn't even know there were slaves. He's got 2 for 1 price for new Diamond and Silk. Hey, I'm not gonna speak on Diamond and Silk because one of them passed away. I'm gonna let that ride. One of them passed away, so I'm gonna let that ride. But at the time, yeah, they was eating them biscuits with that honey. Pretty mean.
Her call, cause that ain't good. We gotta steer her home. And somebody tell Pastor Sewell he lost his job.
Because I believe that God is delivering us from the trap houses of our community.
Here's a question I have, Black MAGA. How many of y'all have been here?
There's 1,000 people there when I used to go there for a fundraiser or an event. Never seen a black person. I've never seen a single black person there.
Oh, don't cry, Black MAGAs. I hate to see all that motor oil running down your face. And everybody hates to see that. Look, there might be a reason why he hasn't done it. Maybe he's just in preparation for the way that he wants the laws to be.
Trump is not a fan of black people, but you probably didn't see this. If you're still supporting him, you probably didn't see how he snuck this in a couple of days ago. So a couple of days ago, if you're not familiar, Trump pulled back the law that kept federal workers in federal buildings from segregating bathrooms, drinking fountains, work areas from blacks and whites or any other race. Okay, it was always black and white, but that's what the law says.
So he takes the plaques down of the people George Washington kept as house slaves, trying to whitewash history, and then speaks for Black History Month. Oh, that's right. What did I say just last year? Oh, it's all about the show. Y'all ain't learned, did you? The White House's biggest statement about black people during Black History Month has been depicting the Obamas as apes and telling everyone it was a joke about Democrats and to get over it. Not even an apology, just a failed defense, a deletion, and more failed defense. Oh, failed defense is correct. But then again, how much can you expect from somebody who will go out and speak in public without so much as looking at his cheat sheet to make sure he uses the right words?
And Herschel Walker, speaking about loyal, how good a football player was Herschel? Herschel Walker now is ambassador to the Bahamas. I don't know, Bahamas, Bermuda, is he Bahamas, whatever. It's a nice place. You'd like that, Bruce, wouldn't you? Bruce wants it.
You know, one of those S-hole countries. Y'all know exactly what it is. Yeah, just one of those.
He's talking about African asshole countries, but I bet you you'll find his white ass over there someplace. Make fun of Africans, but the American people who are African descendants, he's gonna say, oh, "What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? Take my plan. Take my package plan. What have you got to lose? You're living in poverty, like." Bitch! I would have been the one personally to throw a boot at him and hopefully it hit his fat ass head. You're living in poverty. You're living in the slums and ghettos. You're single moms and single dads. What have you got to lose? Sign my payment plan or platinum plan. It was a platinum plan. Sign my platinum plan. Well, anyway, dinner is calling me, and I do appreciate you chilling with your boy, We-On-Loc Nation. Go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I will be back with you in another video Sunday. Oh, Barb, about that credit card, I was just playing. I haven't even paid on it yet. I haven't paid on that credit card yet. Don't worry, man. I just did that to see what your expression was going to be like. You know, I just like messing with you, man. But anyway. Go ahead and comment in the comment section. Give me a couple of likes, and I will definitely see you guys soon.